There is a very, very thin dividing line between success and failure.
And start making, some money, and if you know that you've got your feet firmly on the ground, then I think enormous responsibility comes with becoming a successful entrepreneur or businessman, because unlike becoming a successful doctor, or actually a doctor maybe not be the best example, but a successful nurse or journalist, or success in any other field, extreme wealth comes with becoming a successful entrepreneur. And if capitalism is to be is to be given a good name rather than a bad name, it's essential that capitalists and entrepreneurs give back to society, and you can do that in a number of ways. I mean, one way is obviously to reinvest that wealth in creating new businesses, new jobs, and that in itself is important, and something which I suspect most people in this room will do. The other thing is to actually think about the money that you're spending, and maybe invest it in socially responsible areas.
I look at everything as an opportunity. So I'm positive about life generally, and I generally feel that you can find ways of solving problems and making things work. Nearly full kind of person rather than a glass half full. So I think out of being just a generally positive person, you can make positive things happen. Come up with an idea for a new business. I don't bring in accounting firms to cost analyze it, because one accounting firm will say it's a good idea, another accounting firm will say it's a bad idea. So if I for instance had brought in an accounting firm to say, will Virgin Atlantic work when we started the airline, I'm sure they would have said no way. But what I knew was, if I could create the kind of airline I'd want to fly on that was exceptionally better than any other airline flying, that it was likely that more money would come in the year than go, and I'd have money left over at the end of the year. And that turned out to be the case, because people love Virgin Atlantic.
And so if you're going to have a group of people together, they must be happy people. And if they're going to be happy people, they've got to be led by somebody who is happy themselves, who loves people, who cares generally about people, and who looks for the best in people, who is somebody who doesn't criticize, but who praises and brings out the best in people. So we look for people who are great leaders of people, because they genuinely care about people, and we're lucky at Virgin. That's the kind of people we've got. I was becoming an entrepreneur. I don't think the word entrepreneur actually existed 50 years ago. In Britain, all businesses were run by governments, really. British Coal, British Telecom, British Airways, and so the word entrepreneur didn't really exist. But in starting this magazine, I had to make sure it survived. I didn't have any money, so I had to worry about printing and paper manufacturing and distribution and selling it, and that started taking up quite a lot of time. And the word survival was very important, because in those days you couldn't raise money to start your business. Once again, with the magazine, I started it out of a mission not to make money. With the record company, I started it to get music heard that other people weren't putting out. With the airline, I mean, one or two of you in this room would have heard this story, but it's a good story, so I'm going to tell it again. I was 28 years old. I was trying to get to the Virgin Islands. There was a gorgeous woman waiting for me.
So it should be. I mean, I think if you're successful in life, enormous wealth can go with that success. If you have enormous wealth, then enormous responsibility goes with it too. And it's that responsibility to use your entrepreneurial skills to get out into the world to solve some of the problems of the world, and also to use your financial strength to get out in the world and solve some of the problems of the world. I think it is a trend. I think it's a positive trend. I think Corporate capitalism is something which seems to be the only system that works. I mean, capitalism is wonderful in that, you have young people, they come up with an idea to make a difference in other people's lives, and they go with their idea, and if they're successful, their idea grows and they make some money. But they make, the fault of capitalism, they sometimes make the kind of money that is completely unnecessary for them to make. In conventional schooling terms, it was a big problem. I mean, I would sit at the back of the class, look at the blackboard, and it was just a jumble. And I was thought of as a bit lazy, a bit thick. I mean, or a mixture of the two. If I was interested in something, and what I was interested in was what was going on in the world. So the Vietnamese War was going on. There was a general sort of 60s sort of uprising of students taking place. And so I decided to start a magazine to campaign against things that I thought were wrong in the world, in particular the Vietnam. I would just turn up at people's houses. And because I was young and enthusiastic, they generally took pity on me. And so we set up the Elders, which are 12 incredible men and women who go into conflicts and try to resolve conflicts. And if conflicts, I think, are maybe the most important thing, because if you have a conflict, everything else breaks down. You do need lucky breaks to be successful. I've had enormous amounts of luck. First of all, in my personal life, done foolish things like trying to fly around the world in balloons or trying to break transatlantic. I'm sure I'd want to carry on creating. Most of my time is now spent creating not-for-profit ventures like the Elders or the Carbon War Room or Centre for Disease Control or trying to protect species, and that's where I get my main satisfaction from. And somehow, even if I didn't have any money, I would do my best to. When we set up the Elders, which is headed up by Nelson Mandela and Kofi Annan and Archbishop Tutu, the idea of the Elders was to go into conflict regions and try to resolve conflicts, and they've done some stellar work. And in time, what we also want to do is set up Elders on a local basis. And it's such a waste of people my age and other Elders who've retired, not to have the satisfaction of getting out there and making a difference in the world. And maybe he could actually get in touch with us, and we could maybe experiment with him by maybe doing something locally in his area.